What did we do with all that brass from the Case Prep 101 and 101.1 videos? Stay tuned and find out. Alright, this is part of the reloading process. If you remember, we resized all of my brass with this resizing die and a tool head by itself. What we need to do now is replace this tool head with the reloading tool head. It's very simple. 2 pins. This tool head just slides right out. Back here I have a stand. We just replace that tool head with a reloading tool head. It gets installed right back in the same place. Reinserting the 2 pins. And we have to put the safety bar back in. You just have to move these 2 together. This slides in like this. This might be out of frame, but you just pop it in like that. So it's ready to go to start loading. Get it filled with powder and do some checking, make sure everything's all set up, and we'll be ready to start cranking away. So, gonna move everything around and get this party going. All right, be right back. All right, guys. For this part, we have to get our primer tubes ready and filled. I picked up this inline fabrication mount for the case feeder that holds all of my primer tubes. The yellow tips are small primers. Green tip is large primer. And I'm also storing my large primer tube for the press up here as well, just to keep it out of the way. But this is actually a great product. It keeps everything right up here where you need it, up right next to the press. I've purchased 4 extra of the small primer tubes, so I can have 500. Each one holds 100, so I can have 500 all loaded up. I find that it's faster just to sit down and do one task at a time. So I'll sit down now and I will load up 500 primers in these primer tubes, hang them back up, and that way they're ready right here. I can put them right back into the press over here. Scroll over there, but they go right here basically. We can see the 45 shell. I'll get you, when I do that part, I'll get you a close up over there so you see how I do that. But you can see how close they are. They're right there where they need to be. And anyway, so I'll get those loaded up and I'll show you how we load those right now. So I'll just grab all 5 and then bring them down here to the desk, to the bench here, and I will get my primers out of my locked cabinet back here. We'll be using Winchester small rifle primers today. We'll get, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you'll need what they call a primer flip tray, which is this guy right here. Basically what it is a tray that has a flat side, and then this has, I put it by the microphone, it has little ridges on it. You can probably see those. Anyway, so that's the side you need to have up when you do this. So we'll make sure I got these in frame here. Let me adjust the camera just a little bit. There you go. So you take your primers. They're all facing the correct direction, but we'll go ahead and lay them out. So some of them flipped over. Make sure your tray is empty there. And then I'll put these aside so I know exactly what I'm doing and then how many I've used or set up. But now we're going to get all the anvils up. Take the top of your tray, flip it over, all the shiny stuff up. Take one of your primer feed tubes, and then you're going to just push these in. Doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. You just kind of get them separated up a little bit. And just feed them in. It's another one of those long and tedious processes of reloading. Seems like there's a lot of those, but I like the time by myself. It's quiet. I personally enjoy having something to exercise my brain, such as this does. It's not an easy task, I promise you that. You have to be neat, you have to be organized, you have to be on your toes at all times. And to be honest with you, that's how I'm most relaxed. Anyway, so I just feed 100 of these guys into this tube here. Keep plugging away here. All right, that's our first 100. I won't bore you with the next 400, but once I'm done with this, I put them right back up here where I got them from. My little rack. There you go. So after I get all 5 of those tubes loaded up, I'll get them up there, but I won't bore you with that. I'll be right back. Okay, as with all of this reloading stuff, there's a million ways to do this, but this is kind of just the way I do it. I have a live primer here that I am going to there you go. See that it's live still. I'm going to drop this into the primer feed system here. There you go. I'm going to take a piece of brass that has been not primed. Put that into there, and I'm just going to prime it. Okay? Just push forward on the handle, and it sets the primer. Let's see here. It sets the primer in there. Nice and perfect. Okay, and the reason why I do that is so I can check my measurement on my powder throw, which is what I'm going to show you next. Let me rearrange the cameras again, and I'll show you how we do that. Alrighty. So I have my 8 pounds of tack here. I've used most of it. I don't know, it's a little over a pound left, I guess. But we'll go ahead and throw this in our powder measure here. Give it a good fill. There you go. It's about 90% full there. Make sure you seal your powder back up. You don't want any moisture or anything getting inside of there. And then we'll have our scale set up over here. I have the Lyman, I don't know what model number it is. Anyway, but I use this scale right here. It's a digital scale, works pretty good. I like it. It's battery operated, and or you can plug it in with a little plug-in dealy bop. We'll get that set up, get that warmed up here a little bit. Let's remove our emergency thing here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna self-charge this case. But remember, I just replaced this guy here. This is our Taylor Tactical powder throw adjustment knob. And I don't want to, I've never used it before. I haven't operated the press since I put that in. So I have to double check my charges. So what I'll do is I'll stick the case into the funnel here, and I will go ahead and charge it. and I will weigh that charge. So this right now is at 15 grains right now. So we need to increase that to somewhere in the 22, 23 grains. So I'll crank this up a little bit here. And I'll show you the scale part here in a second, but I just want to make sure you saw how I did this. So if you rotate the safety bar down, traveled all the way up, all the way down. Don't want to get too crazy with it. Look at that. So now we went from 15 to 16.6, so a little bit more. So I'll twist it in the more direction. Give it another 3/4 of a turn there. And then what I'll do is once I get my measurement set to where I want, I'll measure it probably a good 10 times. And this is why I put the primer in that one case, so I can have something to measure that's actually primed and ready to go. So with that little bit of a turn, that was 18.6. So let's give it a little bit more. Give it about another 3/4 of a turn. Stick the case in the powder funnel there. Easy up, easy down. 20.5. So we'll go up a little bit more. More. About another 3/4 of a turn. $22.6. All right. I think we want about, let me see here. Let's check our book. I have a couple of books that I use that I really like. I have these are awesome. If you don't have one of these, I would highly recommend them. They have just about every bullet manufacturer in them. Great resource and relatively cheap, about $7. Then I have the Lyman book, 49th edition, that I like. And then I picked this guy up too. I got it on clearance at one of the local store that was going out of business. Well, it was not going out of business. It was moving, so they were discounting everything. So I picked this guy up. I mostly use this for 300 blackout data, but anyway. So we're going to use the smaller book here, and we're going to be shooting the 55 grain Bowtail full metal jacket. We'll go ahead and use the Hornady, and we're using tack. So with a minimum of 21.5 and a maximum of 24.7, I think I'm going to load about 23.5. That'll give me just over 3,000 feet per second, which will be plenty fast enough. So 23.5, and that'll keep us more about a grain and 2/10 short of max load. So let's go ahead and we have to crank it up just a little bit more, so we'll get about a half turn. See what that does. 23.4. All right, let's try another one here. No adjustment made. Oop. $23.4. It's unbelievable how accurate this Dillon powder throw is once you get it set up just right. $23.4. So that's 3 charges in a row at 23.4. Let's give it another one here. 23.4, 5. I just went up to 5. So that's very, very accurate. I don't know, I'm not for sure that I'm not going to even want to change it from here. Let's see what we got here. 23.4. So what this is just a preliminary test to get the press set up. Yeah, so 23.4 again. So I do this about 10 times to make sure that I have the powder measure operating correctly and throwing the proper amount. And I will also, while I'm reloading, I'll stop reloading, pull one out to make sure, and double check the charge, make sure nothing's changed. I just, I'll go over all that as we go through, but this is just to get the powder measure set up. .5. So that was, what, 5 at 23.4 and 2 at 23.5? That's pretty darn good. .5. Double check my book. Tack. Yep, 24.7's max. So 23.5 will give us just over 3,000 feet per second, which would be plenty for basic plinking ammo. 23.5, we're right on the money here. We'll give it 2 more, but I don't think I'm going to make any adjustments just because of how good it's going right now. .5. One more. .5. So that's good to go. So now we have to set our bullet depth. So what I'll do is I'll take the same piece of brass and get the bullets out of my locked cabinet here. And if you remember, we're going to shoot the Berry's 223 55 grain full metal jacket boat tails. I've loaded a bunch of these. Things of beauty. I mean, perfect. They're great. So I'll go ahead and probably get loud a little bit here, sorry. I'll dump a bunch into my bullet tray here. And I think the last thing I was loading on this press were 75 grain Hornadays. So I'll always start with, I'll back out my my bullet seating die a little bit. And that way I'm not overseating anything when I first do it. And and I'll just run this one piece of brass that we've been doing our test charges with through the press. So what I'll do is I will charge it. Right? We'll check it. .5. That's good to go. Sorry, I'm just reaching over here for my funnel. And I will recharge it with the powder I just poured into the scale. So I know that that's a properly charged case. So I'll run this into here. And now I am going to check my powder check die, our CBS powder check die that I have here. And what I want to do is I want to have this piston or ram part right here go up and get just below my little white O-ring there, and that'll give me an approximate eyeball check of the powder that's in the case. So what I'll do is I'll run this up. So you can see it's just short of that. So what I'll do is I'll move my little rubber band down. And get it so it's just right about there. And that way when I can make my visual look, I know that my case is properly charged. If I'm way up here, I'm overcharged. If I'm way down here, I better weigh it and check to make sure I'm not undercharged. But that's how that's set up. Then we're going to grab a bullet and we'll seat it with my Hornady bullet seating die here. Now it didn't go far enough for sure, I can already tell you that. Yeah, you can see still see the candelore here. We'll pull these pins out so you can get the rounds out. But we're looking for an overall length of 2.20. So I'll get my digital calipers out here. Make sure you're zeroed out. And 2.92, so we've got a little ways to go yet. So I'll put it back into that first station, or that's the station number 4, sorry. Give it a half a turn or so. And then we'll check it again. Still a little long, I can tell by the candelore there. But we're at 2.252 now. So we'll go down just a little bit more. Once again, we're looking for 2.20. Yep. Getting closer. Probably still a little bit long. At 2.240. I don't know if you can see it there, but we got the candelore, the bullet, right there. And we're trying to get that seated within that candelore somewhere. And so we can get a nice crimp on there and make it a beautiful round. But here we go. A little bit further down. And I can feel it getting pushed into the case a little bit each time. This is probably pretty close, I bet. 2.225. So just a little bit more. .212. And every time you're doing this, your adjustments to get smaller and smaller because you don't want to go too far. 2.2065. So we just got a little bit, so I'm just going to barely turn this guy about 1/8 of a turn. .02. Wow, that's pretty close. I don't know if I want to go any further than that. Let's see here. I got another set of calipers here. We'll just double check it with. Yep, those say 2.20. I tend to trust these a little bit more. These go down a little bit further on the increment there. So we'll leave the adjustment right here for now, and we'll check the next one to go through. But the next thing we're going to check is our crimp. This is a Lee factory crimp die. So I have, in this tool head here, a Hornady sizing die with their depriming rod in there. the Dillon powder measure, RCBS powder checker, Hornaday bullet seating die, and a Lee factory crimp die. So now we're going to go ahead and put a factory crimp on this case. Run it up in there. Got a little bit of a pinch there. See what we got. That is pretty good right off the bat. Maybe a little bit heavy. I'll show it to you. But I'm going to back this die out just a little bit here. Kind of just in a booger of a spot. There. But there's the factory crimp right there. I don't see that, but that looks pretty decent. Might be just slightly on the heavy side, but it'll work. Yeah, and I got a 2.02, that's what, 2/1000ths? Yeah, 2/1000ths. Longer than what they're saying, so that should be good. A couple thousandths isn't going to hurt anything. So now we're ready to load the rest of the press up. Let me get behind the camera here. So I'm going to fill the case feeder. About 200 rounds of 223 brass. Let it feed into the case. Feed tube, and we'll start loading some ammo. I do need to put the primer tube, fill the primer tube, so let me move the camera around and I'll show you how we do that. Alright, right here we have the primer feed tube. It does have a low primer alarm. So once this rod gets far enough down, it'll push on that and it'll let me know that we're getting low on primers. So one of the tips that I've seen on YouTube a bunch of guys are doing is putting a 45 case on the top of this rod for a little bit of extra weight on to push down on the primers. So I'll take one of the primer fill tubes from my rack over here, and I'll just pull this pin out. There's a pin. Pull this pin out, and the primers drop into the primer feed tube here. Put this back on my rack in the back there. Flip over my warning bar and then put this guy right here. Okay. Then I'll adjust the camera up a little bit so you can see where I'm putting the cases in this case feeder up here. Let me get a bucket full of cases. I've got a bin of that brass that we did the case prep on. It's ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it and put it in my case feeder on the top here. So that's about half of them, maybe like 250. I dropped a couple on the floor here. I have I don't know, about 8 inches here between my roof and the ceiling and the top of the case feeder. We'll go ahead and put this on high. Have it drop down some cases. All right, case feed tube is full. Appears that all of them are headed in the right direction. So let me move the camera back over to here and I'll show you what I do next. Okay, I've got the primer feed system all primed. I have an empty case here, or empty case, no primer. I'm going to put it in station 2, push forward, which will now prime this case and push the next case on from the case feeder. So when I lift it up, it will get a charge from the Dillon powder measure, and we'll check the, well, we'll do that now. So now it's getting charged from the powder measure. We're going to go forward, and then we're going to push forward to make sure that we get this case here primed and this case pushed back in. And then we're going to check this. I just want to make sure it's in view of you guys. Yeah, it looks like it is. The powder check die. We got the case that we just charged. We're going to check it with the powder check die. This case right here, I don't know if you can see my fingers now. This case right here just got primed, and this case right here just got pushed onto the shell plate by pushing forward. Okay, here we go. We're going to pull up. That one appears to be a little bit short, so we're gonna check that to see what happened there. So we'll go ahead and advance. We're going to pull it off. We're going to check the charge. 23.4. So it's good to go. We'll have to see what happens with that next case here. But that's why that's there, so we can check it. That's a perfect example. But it has the proper charge, so we're going to go ahead and put a bullet on. And now, push forward. Did we already do that? No. There we go. When you're pulling the military crimps out of some of these cases, sometimes you don't quite get all the crimp out, and the primers seat a little hard, but it just went in. So now I've pushed a new case on. I've primed this one. This one is charged. We're going to be checking it. Put a pin in so we don't lose it. And then we're going to be seating the bullet on this one here. So let's go ahead and lift up. There we go. So now I'm thinking that we may have this rubber band up just a little bit high, because we only checked basically on one case. So we'll just go ahead and drop it down. But we are going to double check the charge in this case right here. So we'll go ahead and pull it down. Everything's going to rotate. And we're going to push forward again. So because that's pushing this case on, priming this one. We're going to check this one. We'll check this one for weight, and then we're going to do a crimp on that guy. So we should probably also measure that guy. So the startup is kind of lengthy, but once we get it all set up and to our liking, it will just start cranking them out. Caliper's back on 0. .208. That's probably just the bullet. We'll go ahead and run with that. We're going to check the charge weight on this guy here. 23.5. Perfect. So we might have had to adjust our band up a little bit too high on that the powder check die. So always push forward first. Bullet on. So now we're getting crimped, seating a bullet, powder checking, powder charging, and just pushing the one on. So now it's just a little high. All right, let's try that. There we go. So we'll double check everything again. But now our first actual round is going to be kicked out into the bullet chute over here. We're going to go ahead and rotate everything around. So that one clicked over. Priming, pushing one on. We'll be checking that guy. Let's check our charge weight on this one here. 23.5. This thing's amazing, man, I'm telling you. So we will check the length of this guy. Yeah, this is 2206. So The last one was 8, this is 6. So that's probably just the difference in these bullets here. That's not a huge deal. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So now this guy's going to get crimped. We're going to seat the bullet, check the powder charge on that one, charge the powder on this one, and move this one around. Here we go. Yep, right below our ring here. That one's charging. Bullet seat, crimp. Got a new one in. It's almost time to start flying on this guy here. We'll check this last charge right here. Push forward. 23.5. Excellent. Okay. So let's start cranking out some rounds here. I'm going to call it good to go. Put our pins in. These are little guide pins, and they keep the rounds from flying out from each station, but you can pull them out, so you can pull them out of each station, and we can check. Uh, 22.0, let's see here, 05. So looking good. Maybe we'll just give this about a quarter turn. See what that does. Oh, that guy needs to be crimped. There it is right there. We'll put him back in. I think the crimp is okay. Always push forward. Grab around. You can see we're checking here. We got the cases coming out of the case feeder. One's getting charged. Charge looks perfect. Bullet seating, crimping. We're moving now. And those primers are, some of them are pretty tough to get in there. But you'll feel, I mean, you can feel it. And you'll know when they're all the way in. All right, let's go ahead and give this guy a check here. $23.5. Very accurate powder measure. I'm very pleased with it. All right, let's keep trucking here. Good to go. Getting powder. Ooh, I see what happened. We have a upside down case. So we'll get that guy out of there. Like I said, that happens from time to time. Let me get this guy out. Got a little hook tool here. It kind of helps pull him out like that. Throw it back in the case. But for the most part, the rest of them look good to go. So we'll go ahead and throw a bullet on this guy here. Looks good to go. All right, guys, been moving right along here. Just had to fill up the powder. Put some more cases in the case feeder. we're just about to run out of primers. I kind of wanted you to see that, and I'm about out of bullets for this first dumping into the tray here, but we have a bunch more to go still. As you can see down here, I'm pretty sure you can see that in frame, this is a full bin of bullets completed, and I've got about a half a bin over here. Just stick around with me for a little while and we'll wait for this primer deal to run out, and we'll throw it with some more primers. But we're just trucking right along here. It's going pretty smoothly. Had one or two more upside on cases, and I don't know if that's a shell plate problem up there. I'm gonna have to talk to my local shop here and see what the guy over there has to say. I got all my equipment from the same gentleman, and he's very versed with the Dillon presses, so I'm sure it's something I'm doing wrong, but I don't know, it seems like we get a bunch of upside down cases. But anyway, we're just plugging along. So I might have a little bit of a shell plate adjustment to do. Doesn't seem to quite get centered on the primer feed system, so every once in a while I gotta shake it just a little bit and the primer goes right in. So we're just trucking right along here. Everything's still looking pretty good. You can throw one in a case gauge. Primers look good, seating properly. Everything looks good. Can do a measurement here. I seriously doubt anything's changed. 2.20 right there. Perfect. Yeah, everything's just going pretty good. It's just little hiccups here and there, and I think that's kind of the norm. Use a pretty finely tuned instrument here, and if they get just a little bit out of whack, it seems like it throws a bunch of stuff out of whack. So once we get through with this run here, we'll take it all apart, get it all cleaned up. I think I know what adjustment I need to do. We are just about to hear the primer warning system go off. Bam, called it. Okay, so let me readjust here so you can see kind of up there. Can you see it? Yeah, it's right there. See where the 45 shell is? Just past the powder measure here. So we'll go ahead and lift this rod out. Move the bar over. Primer feeding tube. Just like that. Just give it a little shake to make sure that it all went down in there. One more. Yep, that's all of them. Place your pin. Put over here with the stack. Warning system bar back over. Put your rod back in, and you're ready to go again. So I've only got about, what is that, 7 more bullets in my tray. So I'll grab some more of my bullets here. Fill up my tray. I don't know if we're going to make it to 500 or not. Let's go ahead and refill our case feeder while we're kind of doing everything at once here. That's the last of our brass right there, so got about, I don't know, about I don't know if you can see that or not, but a little over half of a tray here, plus the full one you saw earlier. So anyway, just keep plugging away here. Let me put the camera back down and let you ride along with me for a little while here. Looks like everything's good to go there. So here we go. I did do a powder check, case gauge check, and a overall length check just before I turn the camera back on, so everything seems to be run smoothly. I did say that I refilled the powder already again, so we're just buzzing along here. The key is you know, obviously not to be in a hurry. Just kind of move along with the flow of the press is the best way to describe it. You know, the press kind of dictates the speed that you go. So we're just kind of moving along here. That one's got a little bit of a ridge on there and pulled my little piece out of my checker here. Let's pull that guy out. It looks like he may have missed the chamfer and deburr. So my machine's right here. I don't know how that happened, but I guess we're all human. There we go. And well, anything that happens like that, I usually just hold off to the end, and then I'll just feed them in by hand. So the don't miss out on the, you know, the primers. Yeah, we'll just keep on trucking here. Primer went in sideways. A little strange. I felt it was a little weird there. Once again, you just go as fast as the press will let you. You'll feel that if something goes awry. It's a nice thing about these Dillon presses is that they are very user. What's the word I'm looking for? Very hands-on, and you can feel when something's not right. Yeah, I think we're just about out of brass. So we're right about 400 rounds. Since we're out of cases, I'm obviously not going to refill that. Alrighty. Well, there you have it. Finally getting some reloading done. After all the case prep, after all the sorting, after all the washing and cleaning, the chamfering, the trimming, finally gotten some live rounds out of it. I think we actually ended up with about 350 rounds loaded, and we're going to load up to get a full can of 500 done here pretty soon. But that gives you a good idea of how well the Dillon XL650 works. Even it has a little bit of hiccups, but that's to be expected. You need to keep your eyes moving and always be aware of what's going on. And like I stated in the video, you can only go as fast as the press will allow you to go. You start really cranking on that handles when things really start going awry. So just take your time, pay attention to what's going on, and I promise you'll have a successful reloading time. Anyway, this is Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. I want to thank you for joining me. I know it's a little bit of a long video, but there's no way to really show all the stuff that I've been showing you and keep it short, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Please don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and tell me what you're thinking. If you got any comments, please comment below, and I'll get back to you right away. This is Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. Thanks for watching.